Yo, what is going on, you little snot-nosed Litleo? Greens decks, I can't get enough of them, and I played Greensard in the Limitless Weekly this week. Made top 8, took an L there to an ADP, but I had a ton of fun playing it. I feel like the deck is really solid overall right now. I wanted to show you guys my new changes in the list that I played, and play some games with it. So let's talk about the changes. I've added a Breakzard in over the Reshiram and Charizard. Shout out to Soda King for the idea for this one. Said it was pretty cool. I was like, all right, that sounds pretty cool. Let's try it out. And it helped a ton in the tournament. Now, I don't know if that was just the matchups I hit and the situations that came up, but it was really, really strong in that tournament for me. So it's probably pretty solid to have around as a one of going forward, I would think. We still have 2 Reshizard in here. So in matchups like the Luke Metal matchup, we can just go with the Reshizards. If we don't prize them, and if we have to go 1-in-1, that's still not that big of a deal. But having the option of Breakzard, depending on the matchup, can be very powerful. So I got that in here. Also added a Fan of Waves again for the Luke Metal matchup, because they got those coding energies in there. And there's quite a few other matchups with special energy. Being able to disrupt their energy attachments turn to turn can be super powerful. So one of Fan of Waves specifically added in here because Luke Metal is so popular, but also doesn't hurt to have around for some other decks. So one of Fan of Waves, and I cut the tag call specifically for that. And then the Breakzard obviously going in over the 3rd Reshizard. And that's all the changes I made to the list. But once again, loving Greensard. Oh, I cut a switch and I put an escape rope from the last time I showed you guys Greensard. But yeah, loving Greensard. Ton of fun. I can't get enough of Greens decks in general. Hope some of you guys feel that way, because coming at you with another Greens gameplay today. As always, check out PokemonCard.io for all my deck lists and a bunch of other ones. You guys looking for some new deck lists to play with? PokemonCard.io. Check them out. And yeah, let's get into some games. All right, here we go. Our opponent did win the coin flip, but they are choosing to go first, which is good for us because we don't want to go first. We want to go second. So everything is going as planned so far. Dragon Metal looking like an ADP deck. Our opening hand a little bit rough. Our opponent did mulligan. Oh, they are playing Crushing Hammers as well, which is not great for us, actually. I'm not going to lie. But the opening hand might allow us to do something here. We'll see. We have the boss, so we can actually get aggressive with just Volcanions actually off the start here, and just go into like high heat blast turn 2 on an ADP or something. Of course, we could also top deck. That is a possibility. And we'd love to see they say ADP, I meant Zacian. A possibility. Would love to get a top deck here, get something a little bit better rolling. But at the very least, if we go high heat blast KOization, get something going, that's better than nothing. So, but yeah, hopefully we top deck something here and can get a little bit more going. Reshizard is great. Grab some energy. Bench, put the big charm down already as well. Attach active, and then Flare Starter. Throw 3 onto the Reshizard. So we don't have a draw supporter or any kind of supporter. We play greens. Greens would have been fine. We don't have any kind of supporter off the rip here, but our hand is not terrible. Definitely workable. We can make this work for sure. Nothing guaranteed. But there's a Zacian now. So we got that boss high heat blast potentially next turn. Wait and see what our opponent has going on. There was an escape rope. Chose to hold on to. Probably a research here. Pretty clean. Oh no, a Pokegear that could whiff, and they don't whiff. So that's unfortunate for us. Could have whiffed, but they're helping us out here. We don't have a supporter. If they had whiffed, that would have been, well, I guess they already had the switch. Would have been that bad, I guess. We got a out to a supporter now. So we got a supporter. That's not a supporter. Got an out to supporter with the Pokegear here. We got the boss play though for the Zacian, which I do kind of like. Could go with the escape rope instead though. Excuse me. Huh. So many choices to make here, and I don't love any of them. Not bad though. This would allow me to play a greens for the turn if I find a greens. Find a welder. Oh man, so many choices. I kind of like the welder to get the extra energy in play potentially, and then escape rope, draw a prize card. Let's go for it. Welder here, keep the double blaze option open. Another energy here. Escape rope. And we'll see how this goes. It's going okay so far. I can tell you that much. It's going okay so far. I mean, they should always send up to Dene here. I don't see a world where they ever don't send up to Dene here. But we'll see what they choose, I guess. They could not send up to Dene. Dene up. Flare Strike. So we're an attachment away from Double Blaze KO on the ADP. But then from there, it gets a little bit tricky, because our hand is just 2 fire energy. So, or a bunch of fire energy. We had a scoop up net, which doesn't really do a whole ton in the current situation. Didn't draw a whole ton off the welder, but we set up this option for the double blaze on this turn, which could be good. but could also do absolutely nothing. Yeah, we really need a top deck here, because Double Blaze is okay, but I don't think it's going to win us the game. Far from it, actually. Scoop Up Net is actually pretty good here if we do top deck out, like... There's quite a few things that would be pretty decent here, not going to lie. But we do have to Flare Strike this turn, or Double Blaze this to get a KO, which is not good. But yeah, we can Scoop Up Net this. If we get greens, we can get Quick Ball this way, and a Welder. And then go with that, attach to the active Double Blaze, and then next turn, Welder to a new Reshizard, attach. And if they attack into us, we can just Outrage Return Knockout. We would want to get a big charm on it, because otherwise our opponent just wins with a Rusted Sword, Brave Blade. If I'd grabbed greens instead, I could have got like Hearth plus, I don't even know, Hearth plus Welder, but then I'm basically doing the same thing that I'm doing this turn. But that doesn't do a whole ton. It's just kind of unfortunate that most, if not all of our hand is literally energy. They actually attach to the bench here, which is super curious. Instead of going for an Ultimate Ray, are they looking for, oh my gosh, the big charm? That's really annoying, but why would they? Their Zacian's ready to go. I'm so confused by how my opponent's playing this, though. Cherish Ball failed, and then here comes a Pokegear, gets a Boss. What is going on? What is my opponent doing here? They're now, I mean, this is just a terrible situation. I don't know if they weren't paying attention or another energy. Yes, that's terrible. That we have another energy. Oh my goodness. So we can Double Blaze for 300, which I might just do because we do have Tool Scrapper, or the Lukemet or the Volcanion could clean it up. So I think I'm gonna go attach and Double Blaze 300. And then next time we can go Boss KO the Zacian. Boss KO Zacian. And then if we can hit it for 50 with High Heat Blast. We have Great Catcher left in the deck, stuff like that. Tool Scrapper is also a card that we have left to use. I mean, I guess I could have gone Boss, but then I assume they're gonna Ultimate Ray hit it, and we'd have to Double Blaze this, and then they would come up, hit us with Zacian, with ADP. We'd still have 6 energy here, then we'd go attach, and then we'd go Flare Strike, and then we'd be Tool Scrapper, High Heat Blast away, as opposed to just Tool Scrapper away. So I think this is a little bit better. Not much. I don't feel like this scenario is great pretty much no matter what. We also have Great Catcher left in the deck, so that's something we can do. We can Great Catcher up the ADP. They are down 2 Crushing Hammers now. They do have 2 more. Here comes another Pokegear. These have been very like high, like there's a lot of room for these Pokegears to go one way or the other. First one, they got the Marnie. The second one, they got the Boss and not a Research. Here comes a Crushing Hammer. Gets a Heads, but it's got to go. Yeah, it's got to remove off the bench here. This makes no sense to remove off the active here. And looks like an Ultimate Ray is going down. But like I said, we can go Boss, knock out the Zacian. Not gonna. If we get the Great Potion, would we have enough HP? If we get the Great Potion, Great Potion actually keeps us out of range of the knockout from another Ultimate Ray, because that would get up to 360, and then Great Potion would effectively put us at 370 HP. So top deck Great Potion would be really good, especially if we're gonna go with that Boss here. We basically have to go with the Boss here. So yeah, here comes the Ultimate Ray, because we got to take out this ADP. Ultimate Ray going down, a Bossization. We'll get more prize cards to work with. We're gonna get a top deck to work with right here. Hopefully this top deck is good. Would love a Reshizard or something like that. I just don't even know what to say. Great Potion top deck. What? This game is so ridiculous so far. Okay, bring up the Zacian, Outrage Knockout, but now the Ultimate Ray doesn't KO us. We would live with 10 HP. Now they could play with, I doubt they play Phantom Waves. They could. Phantom Waves is something they could play. More likely, Tool Scrapper is something that they probably play or maybe play, but they got the Crushing Hammers in here, so maybe not. They also have a Rangaroo and Big Charm. It's like 2 more cards. Those 3 cards are there. Crushing Hammers, Big Charm, a Rangaroo. You don't always see those in ADP, so you gotta find room for them somehow. They're setting up a Rangaroo here. We actually don't KO a Rangaroo, so they could hit us with a Rangaroo with the Thwap down and then Ultimate Ray KO this, but by then the Volk is going to be online, so they're going to have to set up a different attacker at that point that they could use to attack. They can't attack with the Rangaroo, and if they attack with a Zacian here, they risk me just having... And there's the concede. What a wild game. Let's get into the next one. Okay, here we go again. Once again, losing the coin flip, so once again, hoping our opponent likes going first. And they choose to do so. Apparently they don't. They're choosing for us to go first. Now, this is where stuff gets harder. I don't want to say it becomes like terrible for us, because it really doesn't. It just gets a lot, or quite a bit harder, to be honest. It does get quite a bit harder up against some kind of Blacephalon deck, so they might give us access to good old Hearth. Go ahead and grab these two, and because they are playing this kind of deck, that they are playing the Blacephalon deck, I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive here, because they usually can't discard our hand. Throw down the Breaksard, throw down a Heat, go ahead and pass to my opponent. I'm gonna hold the power plant around, because they play 4 Hearth. They could have Dedenne or Cherish Ball, have to Cherish Ball for Dedenne to be able to start seeing cards. That's possible, but they do play 4 Hearth, so. And they, like I said, they don't play hand disruption, so that's why I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive with the tag calls. Usually you don't want to be this aggressive with tag calls. You want to keep them around for future scenarios, and it looks like my opponent's hand is terrible. They do get the Blazer hit though, so 60 coming into my Volcanion. I don't think I'm gonna be able to punish them though for this situation at all. Gonna go with greens, hopefully get that energy spinner. And what else? I don't want to grab Hearth. We could grab Hearth and put it in play ourselves next turn though, if they don't put one in play, so that wouldn't be terrible. So I guess we could do that. Spin our Hearth. So my opponent continues to draw bad. I do want to be able to take advantage of that. Attach here, and now I am going to put the power play in play, because we know my opponent, if they had a Hearth in hand, they would have put it in play to start thinning cards out of their deck. So we know they don't have a Hearth in hand, so we're just going to take advantage of that and be like, okay, now we're going to put our power play in play, knowing you don't have a Hearth, because you would have put it in play to thin out your deck theoretically. And of course they could have chosen not to do that, but most likely they would have done that. There's a Welder, so they did top deck Welder there, so we know that for sure as well. They top decked Welder there. Makes no sense for them to have not Weldered last turn at all. They definitely would have. I mean, I would assume they would have as well. I mean, I guess it's possible they wouldn't have, but seems likely they would have. The Blound is set up. They still need 2 more energy to get the knockout. There's the Hearth that I was talking about, and it's coming down. What we expected. And they're Hearthing away a Hearth, which is good for us though, because that means they have less Hearths to bump our second power plant later in the game, which could be a big deal, because we like to use that power plant later in the game. Combine it with Stamp, stop stuff like the Dedenne. Oh my gosh, here comes a great catcher. Do they have the knockout? Jirachi, they're going for it. Fireball Circus, they can only do 150 damage, and they do 150. So we got 140 left. The Great Potion is going to come in super handy here. I'm gonna go ahead and Hearth away my Hearth. I don't really want to ever put Hearth in play again, and they're not going to replace Hearth. Our other power plant is in the deck. Great. Welder, 2 to my active. There's the power plant again, and I kind of want to be aggressive with power plant here, knowing my opponent has a 0 card hand. It just feels good doing that, because one of their biggest outs here, if not only out, is Dead Change or Crobat. So if they get Quick Ball, they could still Crobat, but we want to take away the option of Dead Change or Oricorio. They're also down 2 Hearth at this point, so it becomes that much better for us. I just want to get stuff to make my Fire Pokemon as tanky as possible, so we're going to get that Big Charm. We got the Welder. If we go down, we have the Fire Crystal. If we don't go down, we can just attach Heat Energy for this turn, and maybe Caitlyn and Cynthia, and recover our greens for future turns. But we don't have to like Welder for 2 this turn, because I could have like gone Brilliant Flare and grab Welder plus 2 fires and then Welder 2, but we really don't have to be that aggressive if they don't get the knockout. If they do get the knockout, we do have access to our Fire Crystal, and if they get the knockout, they probably would have put a power play in play, but not working out for my opponent. I guess another thing there would have been like if they only find Cherish Ball, if the Stellar Wish, that can only find a Denny instead of Crobat. So power plant, once again, pretty effective in that scenario, and we get the dub. All right, here we go again. Once again, go in second. Ooh, pretty clean start as well so far. Could get gnarly, you never know. And we'll see what our opponent's playing here, what we get to go up against, try and knock down. Stamps, Crushing Hammers, looking like Pikarom. Now, this is a tough matchup. I don't want to say it's like a horrendous matchup, but it's definitely tough, hard to maneuver, and really, yeah, it's tough. It's really, really tough. And I want to be aggressive here if I can, probably try and get as much fire energy in play as possible. Now, they could reset Stamp this hand, so I'm going to go ahead and bench both these down, because I don't want to get reset stamped. They definitely could go with a reset stamp here. There's the Bolton Start. That's what we expected. But yeah, we're going to try and get really aggressive with a lot of energy in here. We got the Energy Spinner, and we have access to a Pokegear. We're going to play the Energy Spinner for 3. If this Pokegear hits a Welder, we're Weldering energy in play. We're going to Flare Starter. Going to put a whole bunch of energy in play to work with on our next turn to give us as many options as possible. We probably want to eye up the Flare Strike. And to be honest, I maybe shouldn't have benched this and maybe should have just gone for double Reshi's Art, but the option of Breaks Art seems pretty good. But we want to Flare Strike this, and then we want to Double Blaze. So to be honest, this guy seems kind of sketch, and I maybe shouldn't have put him in play. But he's here now, so we're working with it. We could get the other Reshi's Art off the tag call and kind of leave this thing out there to just kind of exist. We'll see. Tag Switch is nice, though. That can move energy around later on. So we're going to start with the Energy Spinner here. Grab 3, plenty of energy left in the deck, even if we Welder for the Flare Starter. Can we get a Welder? We can. That's huge. We're going to put a ton of energy in play turn 1 here. Load up this Reshi's Art. I'll decide where the rest of them are going to go. We drew a lot more fire there as well. Going down here, and then go ahead and Flare Starter, grab 3. And then I kind of just want to load up for the Flare Strike. Like I mentioned, I could put 3 here and go in with that Brilliant Flare next turn. But probably just want to have the option of the Flare Strike, or as close as possible. And I'll go ahead and throw 1 here. I don't want to hard retreat my Volk. If anything, we could just High Heat Blast into the Bolton as well and just kind of chill. Excuse me, that would also be... Goodness, that would also be a fine play. Just to kind of go High Heat Blast, hit them, let's see what they got kind of situation. Try and do that for the turn. That would be fine. We'll have to wait and see. They did Quick Ball away a Research turn 1, so we know that they have something decent to work with here. I could have also put all 5 on Reshi's Art, but what can get weird there is if, you know, I just don't get, you know, they're going to be Marnieing us a lot. If I don't get an option to boss a tag team and I still have to attack with the Reshi's Art, it just kind of gets weird. See, here comes the Marnie, and then we lose our hand, and then maybe we set up for it, and then when they get Marnied again, and we just don't get an option to Double Blaze KO a tag team, it's just kind of weird. It gets weird. It gets bad for us. And this hand has already gotten kind of weird for us already. Man, I got an itchy nose. We're probably going to have to go ahead and Flare Starter to the Break Zard if we don't top deck anything decent. And I'm trying to think. There's not a whole ton of... Okay. My nose is insanely itchy. Not a whole ton of decent things to draw. Take that back. This is fine. I'm going to go ahead and Quick Ball away the Tool Scrapper as well. Not a ridiculously powerful card in this matchup. Get that second Volk to work with. Throw that down. And then, yeah. Flare Strike. Take this early knockout. Now, this is where things is like, great. We got the Flare Strike turn 2. But now here comes Raichu to kind of mess us up. Here comes Marnie, here comes Stamp. So many things that are so hard for us to actually deal with. And we used our Switch already. So although it kind of looked good, oh, we got to get the Switch. We get this knockout, which is nice to put on the pressure because it's really hard to play around Bolton, to be honest. And they're actually playing Mewtwo more so than Pikarom, but it could just be the Incineroar in the Pikarom build. Here comes the Switch to the Raichu, and they're looking for Air Balloon. They're looking for Switch. They're trying to paralyze me. Now that's like another GX attack we have to all of a sudden play around, which is going to be pretty annoying, to be honest. But they might whiff here. As I itch my nose again, they might whiff here. We'll have to wait and see. We can actually just go with Outrage on this and then clean it up later. The problem with Outrage is we can't clean it up with Brilliant Flare, so I might want to Double Blaze this. Here comes a whole bunch of other pokes. Yeah, they're looking for that Switch card here. Crobat for 3. Do they get it? Yep, there's the Air Balloon. So we're getting paralyzed. This is where things get pretty gnarly for us in a bad way. Very bad way. Maybe we top deck Hearth and then we... No, that won't even be that good anyways, to be honest. There's really no great situations here for us. I don't feel like. Pokegear. Another Welder. No. Oh, man. This is where things get pretty weird for us. I'm going to go and heal. So it's harder for them to KO us next turn. They can't just KO us out of the active with Full Blitz. They have to switch to the bench. We could boss to try and trap something, but then they just need to switch anyway, so it doesn't really change anything. If they Full Blitz this, we wake up, and then we're good to go. So Full Blitz, I don't really mind. Lightning Ride, I don't mind. With the 3 energy, I mind Switch, Tandem Shock, Knockout. That would be really annoying. We'd probably have to respond with a Crimson Flame Pillar. Really don't have anything else. And then that's going to put us in a... we just don't have anything. That's why this matchup is so tough. One of the few decks that still run really heavy Marnie. And just a lot of disruption. They got the Crushing Hammers. They got the Tandem Shock. This is one of the matchups that... kind of kept Greenzard in check up until Battle Styles came out, to be honest. And then once Battle Styles kind of came through, I was like, whoa, Battle Styles, it's here. Pikarom's not as good as it was. Oh, Pikarom's not as good as it was. Okay, Greenzard can kind of be played again. And that's kind of what happened. That was kind of the shift in the meta that allowed Greenzard to be good again. But Pikarom is still a deck. And, you know, we'll hit it sometimes, just like this game. It's a good demonstration of why Greenzard, you know, isn't a broken BDIF or anything. It's good against ADP. It's good against Luke Metal, 2 of the top decks right now. But it does have its troubles. It does have its struggles. Stuff like Eternatus with similar cards, like some Scrappers or Crushing Hammers. Eternatus is also a deck that plays heavy Marnie. They're going for the Tag Bolt. So their GX attack is gone, which is a little bit encouraging, I want to say. Like, nice to see their GX attack is gone. Still going to be tough, though. I might just go with a Flare Starter here. I almost feel like I have to Crimson Flame Pillar, but it feels so bad to Crimson Flame Pillar here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set up this Vulcan Hope for, excuse me, as I itch my nose again. And yeah, we're just gonna Flare Starter. Try and set this thing up. I don't got anything better to do. I don't think I could have gone for the Crimson Flame Pillar, but then they just get a free hit. We really need to make them go through these one prizers. There's the boss. So we basically have to top deck Mal and Lana and an energy for the turn, which is not possible. We could do Mal and Lana, get to the Volk. Oh, they have Crushing Punch as well. The cheesy Crushing Punch coming in clutch. All right, we're gonna fan one of these back. I'm going to boss their Mewtwo, force them to find a switch card. Going with that Crimson Flame Pillar. Onto the Reshi's Art, I think. What do we got? 4. Yeah, I think we're gonna throw. I might just throw all here and hope I top deck a way to move this, but I don't have a ton of ways to move this thing anymore. Could get an energy, I guess. Goodness. Sure. Lock it in. We could have put one on the Volk, I guess. Maybe try to retreat and then attack with Volk for the turn. But yeah, we're basically done in at this point if they just have a switch card, which they have quite a few left, I think. 3 switch left. They're down both their air balloons. Usually only play 2, so we don't have to be too worried about that. But yeah, they got a switch. They got game. No problem. Here comes a Marnie, so that frees us from our dead hand, but it also allows my opponent to see more cards. And they got a bench space to work with as well, which means the Dene, most likely. We got the Mallow and Lana. So we're not done quite yet, but yes, we are. They have the switch. All right, we're going to fall here in the end in this one to the Pikarom. Like I said, tough one. This is one of the matchups that really tough for us to beat and go up against it. It's just, it's a bad matchup when we play up against each other. Anyways, guys, see you tomorrow.